Something very interesting happened to me a few days ago, and I want to share it with you. I went to the sports centre on a Sunday morning to use the steam room, and as I walked in, I could hear the squash courts being used. Now that's pretty unusual in my local sports centre. There's only one court, we've lost one court, but we never had a lot of people playing, and I was curious. So I went around the corner, up the ramp, and I put my head around the corner so that nobody could see that I was watching, and I saw two people that I know. One about 30 years old, young, fit, fast, not particularly good technique, and an older player who I think is definitely over 60, obviously not as fast, obviously not as fit, but has a much better technique. Now I knew both of them. They know me from the YouTube channel, but we've also been on court a few times. So I watched them, and with no disrespect intended to either of them, they were playing typical leisure centre squash. Very hard, very low, lots of cross courts. Every volley was a winner. There was no taking their time. They were rushing. Nothing got into the back. They were having fun, and that's what's important. I'm not criticising them because they were having fun, and that's what squash should be. You should enjoy what you're doing. But it wasn't classic good squash. So I watched for no more than 3 minutes. They didn't see me. It's a glass back court, but they didn't see me because they were just totally focused on the ball. So eventually one of them looked around and saw me, and I sort of waved saying, you know, carry on, I don't want to interrupt you. But they came out, they had a chat, they asked me about my hip, when I'm going to be back on court, just the usual sorts of things that you do for people, acquaintances that you know. So they went back on court, and suddenly it's a new game. They're different players. Up and down the wall, into the corner, don't worry about the racket, into the corner. Volleys that aren't winners every single attempt. They're volleys that try to get the opponent out of position. We're playing a few nice little drops, a few lobs, there's a few working boasts. It's a totally different game. Now, that's great, that's wonderful. But what changed? Well, they knew I was watching. Now, this is the lesson here, that spectators matter when players allow them to matter. So what I'm saying is that because they knew I'm a coach, because we've been on court before, they didn't, I don't want to use the word they wanted to impress me, but they knew that they should be doing better. They knew when they were playing before that that wasn't the right kind of squash. And I provided the catalyst, the motivation, well, for them changing their way they play. Now, it might have happened to you. It's definitely happened to me. I know that when I've been on court and Jonah Barrington or Ramat Khan had been watching me, I changed the way I played. I wanted to impress them. They'd been on court with me. They'd been helping me improve. I wanted to show that the work that they had done with me was paying dividends. Now that might be a little bit superficial, a little bit shallow, that you're only playing to impress somebody else. But it's not that. It's much deeper than that. It's a desire to do your best. And the people watching remind you that you have to do better. Now, my suggestion to you is that think of somebody whose opinion you value, somebody that you look up to, who you think, wow, that person is really good. It can be a player, it can be a coach, it can be a family member. You don't even have to know the person personally. But imagine somebody is watching you, either on the balcony or behind the glass back. How would you play if they were watching you? And if you don't have anybody, imagine me. I'll be sitting there, or standing there looking over, and you have to say, right, okay, Coach Philip's watching now. I've got to do all the things that I know I should be doing. I've got to do my best to impress him. Now, professional players, they use this knowledge. When people are, you know, in the glass courts and they're surrounded and all of those people are watching, they use that to motivate themselves. They use the positive energy to play better squash. And some of them use the negative energy. They know that they're not the favourite on court. They know that people want them to lose, and they use that. And club players can do that as well, if they choose to. If you have the ability to block out all of the distraction, then you can play great squash. But if the spectators distract you, then that's the negative thing. And in the case that I just said, with me watching, I didn't distract those players. I reminded them that they weren't playing their best squash. And that's the lesson here. The spectators can help you play better squash. So just imagine me watching you. Are you going to do your best? I hope so. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was useful for you. Consider subscribing if you like my content. Here is the playlist of all the other video essays, and at the point of this video there's only a couple of them, but there will be more in the future. And this is a video that YouTube thinks is a good fit for you based on what you've been watching. So remember, do something every single day to improve your squash. See ya.